Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Mind your business. Only on Money FM 89.3.
Thanks for joining us on Money FM 89.3. I'm Huang. AI has already transformed industries, but the next frontier is agentic AI, intelligent systems capable of autonomous decision-making, problem-solving, and even strategic planning. So we are going to be breaking down what agentic AI means, how businesses can leverage it to enhance efficiency, innovation, and customer experiences, and the challenges that come with implementing such advanced technology. So whether you're a business leader, entrepreneur, or simply curious about the future of artificial intelligence, this conversation will give you some insights into how agentic AI is reshaping the corporate landscape. And to help us out this morning, we've got Siyong Liu. He is the director of CFB Bots, which specializes in intelligent automation. Siyong, good morning. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ryan. Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
Great to have you on. So let's start from the beginning to give us a bit of a big picture. Where we are right now in Singapore, how would you describe it when it comes to businesses adopting AI right now? How prevalent is it?
Yeah, I think right now, AI adoption is actually on the uptrend in Singapore. We are probably at the initial stages of adoption, but we see that there is a huge wave of interest from companies, both large and small, in terms of adopting AI in Singapore. And I believe that, the primary driver for such interest is really the challenging operating landscape in Singapore. I mean, if you look at the common issues faced by businesses in Singapore, typically manpower constraints, difficulty getting access to talent, these are typically kind of the top one or two challenges businesses face. And all of them, they are now looking at AI, and specifically agentic AI as a means to alleviate some of these manpower challenges that they are facing. So I would definitely say that, businesses are really starting to pick up AI and adopting it in their business practices.
Okay, so AI is quite a big idea. What is agentic AI? How do you implement it in the workplace?
Yeah, so that's a really, really good question, right? Since the launch of ChatGPT probably 2 or 3 years ago, I think the awareness about AI has really shot up. So most people are probably aware of, what we call generative AI. Basically, AI that is able to generate text, images, videos, even sounds, music, and so on and so forth. So agentic AI is kind of like a different sub-branch of AI, kind of different from generative AI in the sense that agentic AI is not only able to process information, it's not only able to make decisions, but it's also able to perform actions in the real world. Right, so in the business context, that could mean that, reading an invoice that a supplier has sent in, being able to extract the relevant data from the invoice, process the invoice inside the enterprise ERP systems in the organization, right? So it's not just about thinking, but it's also about doing, about performing actions that, typically happens in the business workplace today.
Okay, so AI helping you to sort out some perhaps the more repetitive stuff, the stuff that can free you up to do more value-add work. Where do you see AI having the most impact? And do you see this helping SMEs more or the larger companies?
Yeah, so I think there are many, many areas where AI can be, or agentic AI can be applied in businesses today. Where we are seeing right now where there are the strongest traction, probably I would say the first area will be in customer service, right? You can actually use, you probably have heard about chatbots. So agentic AI chatbots are actually a more advanced version of chatbot where you do not have to pre-program the traditional chatbot with certain frequently asked questions, right? The latest generation of agentic chatbots, they are able to reply questions on the fly, even if it's a question that it has never seen before. So we see that there's a lot of applications in the customer service area, helping companies to respond quickly to customer inquiries, and also very efficiently, right, without having to hire a team of reps to be able to sit on the desk to answer to inbound inquiries. So I think customer service is probably the easiest place to get started. And obviously another big area where I think agentic AI or AI agents can help will be in the area of marketing, right? The ability to churn out marketing contents, social media posts, that's probably something that AI can do pretty well today.
Yeah, so you painted quite a pretty good picture of how AI can help. I'm wondering as well about the potential challenges, because when you've got AI helping you out so much, what are the risks when it comes to what it's telling your clients? Do you need to have any safeguards in place?
Yeah, I think in the AI space today, having safeguards and guardrails really, really important, because at the end of the day, if you look at AI, it's kind of like a black box to a certain extent. So having the observability or the explainability is really, really important, because in agentic AI, the AI agents are going to make decisions, right? They're going to think, they're going to plan, and they're going to make decisions on behalf of the employees, right? So being able to understand why the agents took certain decisions and being able to course correct I think is really, really important, because, going back to the example of applying agentic AI in customer service, you do not want the AI agents to make a wrong response to the inbound inquiries, right? And if there is a wrong response, you want to understand why it took that action. And in future, you want to correct those incorrect responses, right? So, being able to understand what AI is doing at the back end I think is really, really important. I think also the other key thing to note about AI implementations is that the quality of the implementation typically depends on the quality of the data that you have, because you do need to train AI with your data, with the proprietary data. And I think that is where typically organizations struggle, because they probably have a lot of data, but their data is not all over the place, is probably not in the right format to train AI on. Right. So I think usually we see that there is a bit of an adoption curve for organizations because of that, the lack of prepared data in that sense.
Okay, so how do you actually get started on this journey of adopting AI? Do you get your employees to list down their duties, and then you try to work your way into how AI can be integrated? What are the questions you need to ask when you're on this journey?
Yeah, so I think usually what we see works well is really to have a dual approach of both top-down and bottoms-up. So by top-down, I mean that, the management, the bosses, they need to understand the technology. They need to allow their employees to learn about the technology and to embrace the technology. So I think that's really, really important. The management setting the direction for the organization to be more technology focused, right? And then bottoms up more from the perspective of the employees, right? Because they are the one who does the work day in, day out. They understand what are some of the pain points. They understand what are some of the challenges. And I think in that regard, it is really important for them to see how AI agents can help to potentially alleviate some of the challenges that they are facing in the work, right? And, the thing about technology in general is that, there are no silver bullets, right? So no technology is going to magically take away all the problems that the employees face at the workplace. So I think the key thing is to identify the pain point that can actually be correctly solved by, in this case, agentic AI, right? And then the part then that follows is really about applying the technology into the workplace, and then to, improve the technology as we go along.
Okay, so you've talked about how to do it. So how much is it to do it? How accessible is this for SMEs in terms of both costs and getting hold of talent to manage this?
Yeah, so I think that's the part which I'm really, really excited, because in general, if you look at it, agentic AI is really a very accessible technology. So unlike traditional technology, like for example, you look at ERPs, it doesn't cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars just to implement. And if you just go back like 5 or 10 years ago, if you talk to any company and tell them that, hey, if you want to implement a traditional AI or machine learning solution, right, that would typically set you back hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, right? But in today's landscape, I think the technology has democratized to a fairly large extent. It's actually very accessible for companies to actually get started on the journey. There are a lot of tools, there are a lot of platforms available. Some of them are kind of free to use. Of course, there are paid options as well. So it is really accessible for companies to really start, tinkering with the technology, trying to see what works for them. And, of course, there are tons of online resources that can help to guide them in their journey as well. So I think to a certain extent, AI is, the good thing about AI is it's very democratized technology. And I think that's also one of the reasons why we expect to see that the adoption of agentic AI will going to rise in the future, right? Because more and more businesses, more and more employees are going to start to pick up the technology because they want to see how they can leverage the latest technology to improve their work.
Yeah, talking about journeys and embracing AI, your own journey started back in 2016 when you learned about robotic process automation and you took the leap of faith to start your own company. What have been some of your business lessons since you started? How difficult was it to make that leap of faith?
Yeah, so there was a really interesting journey. Yeah, so I started back in 2016, work on this technology called RPA, which basically automates repetitive, mundane tasks. And back then, my thought was that, this is a technology that is emerging, and I think it has a lot of potential to help businesses solve some of the challenges they had in terms of manpower, in terms of operating challenges. And to be honest, it worked out pretty well for me because back then, those days, kind of like the initial starting point for RPA technology. And over the years, we grew pretty fast. And what we're seeing right now is that this is kind of like, I would say right now where we are is probably kind of like RPA 2.0 with the rise of agentic AI, with AI agents, because these AI agents are kind of like RPA robots, but with more capabilities. So traditional RPA robots, they are very good at automating mundane, repetitive tasks. But whenever the task deviates, wherever they are what we call business exceptions, those robots don't handle those exceptions very well, right? But with AI agents, with the added capabilities of agencies, the ability to think and make decisions, they are able to handle a much more varied tasks, right? And so we as an organization, we are also pivoting as the technology changes. So instead of just focusing on the mundane repetitive tasks through RPA, now we are actually focusing a lot on using AI agents to solve some of the more pressing business challenges.
Yeah, and I think part of technology is trying to convince people to try it, and especially so in your startup. How did you sell yourself? Getting people to try this, to change their mindsets, and also to try your services out as a new company.
Yeah, so what we learned actually is that it is always easier to convince clients or potential clients by showing them the benefits of technology, rather than just going to them and trying to pitch to them, right? So, going back to the days when we first started working on RPA technology, what we typically do is that, we will talk to potential clients and, we will actually invest by doing, like, for example, a POC, a proof of concept, or doing a prototype for them to convince them, to show them that, hey, this is actually a viable technology that actually works in your business, by showing them that the technology is able to automate their own business processes, their own data, right? So I always believe that seeing is believing, right? So by proving to our potential clients that, hey, this is a technology that works, and also we as a vendor, we are willing to invest to make it work for your company. I think that really shows a lot to them.
Okay, a great snapshot of how to embrace agentic AI for your workplace. We've been in conversation with Siyong Liu. He is the director of CFB Bots. Siyong, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, Ryan. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.